Right now, there is a massive race back to the moon, but, it's not for flags or footprints. It's for this invisible subatomic isotope that currently costs like $20 million a kilogram.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We're looking at helium-3. Okay, let's unpack this. You've likely heard of a renewed space race, but today we'll uncover the subatomic economic engine actually driving it and, well, why this matters for your future power grid.
Yeah, it really is the engine of tomorrow, and it all starts with its subatomic architecture. So
Yeah.
standard helium has two protons and two neutrons, right? But helium-3 is missing a neutron. That single missing piece fundamentally changes its quantum mechanics. It makes it what physicists call a fermion.
Okay, so it's a fermion, but what does that actually mean for, say, a quantum computer? Like, why does that matter?
Well, to run a quantum computer, you have to keep the system incredibly cold-like, below 10 millikelvin, near absolute zero.
Which is basically colder than deep space, right?
Right.
Exactly. And the problem is, standard cooling systems, even regular helium, eventually hit a wall at those extremes. They literally freeze up. But fermions, because of their quantum nature, they don't clump together.
Ah, I see. It's kind of like trying to keep a fragile ice sculpture frozen inside a sauna. And this is the only refrigerant that doesn't just break the laws of physics to do it.
That is a great way to put it. It acts like a molecular conveyor belt that just never freezes, so it constantly carries heat away. It's the only thing that works for the $178 million dilution refrigerator market.
Wow. But where do we even get it? I mean, at $20 million a kilo, it's not exactly sitting on store shelves.
Definitely not. Historically, because it's so incredibly scarce on Earth, our entire supply was strictly scavenged from decaying nuclear weapons, specifically old tritium stockpiles.
Yikes. That doesn't sound like a sustainable business model for tech companies. Though I did see that recent topaz discovery in Minnesota, right? They found natural helium-3 concentrations in the ground.
They did, yeah. They found staggering concentrations, like
Mm.
11.2 to 14.5 parts per billion. It's a critical, localized stopgap for the industry. But what's fascinating here is that while quantum computing needs helium-3 today, its true long-term value lies in nuclear fusion. The universe's ultimate coolant is actually also its ultimate heat source.
Wait, hold on. I thought traditional fusion was already the holy grail. We've been talking about recreating a star in a jar for decades. Why do we suddenly need this ultra-rare isotope?
Because traditional fusion, which uses deuterium and tritium, has a massive structural problem. It violently releases high-energy neutrons that literally bombard and destroy the reactor walls. It causes like over 1,100 atomic displacements over time.
Oh, wow. So the reactor just basically eats itself from the inside out.
Precisely. And on top of that, traditional nuclear power, even fusion, is still ultimately just using heat to boil water to create steam and spin a turbine.
Right. So instead of using a futuristic star in a jar to boil water like a 19th century steam engine, He3 lets us pull electricity straight from the plasma.
Exactly. Fusing helium-3 with deuterium is aneutronic. It produces under 0.1% neutrons. Almost all the energy is charged plasma. We capture that with magnetic fields and get direct energy conversion at around 90% efficiency.
That is wild. No boiling water at all.
None. And companies like Helium are already leveraging this. They've even secured a massive 50-gigawatt power deal with OpenAI.
Okay, but for a global fusion grid, that Minnesota discovery is just a drop in the bucket, right? Where do we get the gigatons we'd actually need?
We have to look up, we have to mine the moon. Because it lacks an atmosphere, billions of years of solar wind have deposited gigatons of helium-3 directly into the lunar dirt, the regolith.
So we just scoop it up. I mean, how does that even work practically?
It requires extreme engineering. Take Ireland, for example. They're designing this autonomous harvester to ingest 100 tons of lunar soil per hour, heating it to 1,000 Kelvin just to bake the helium-3 out.
100 tons an hour. That is a massive industrial operation. And I imagine that's causing some tension, right? With the US-led Artemis Accords and the Sino-Russian coalition, the ILRS, both looking at the moon.
Oh, absolutely. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, while international lawyers debate who has the right to build and extract, and we're totally impartial on who's right there, by the way, the private sector isn't waiting around.
Right. The research highlights $300 million pre-market contracts already being signed for lunar helium-3 right now.
Exactly. These massive private deals are effectively creating de facto lunar law, locking in ownership before the machines even launch.
It is just an incredible convergence. Helium-3 is literally bridging the gap between quantum mechanics and heavy industrial space mining. So here is a provocative thought to leave you with. If private entities are effectively establishing lunar property rights today through massive pre-market contracts, how long until celestial real estate dictates your terrestrial economics before humans even permanently live there?